where we start centering from the start for us, and I'm going to let her give kind of an intro as to how she works. And then she's going to ask you questions, and you guys can just volunteer if you have a question. And then after that, we're going to do some dancing. It can be a little challenging, but we're all here in kind of the same boat. So thank you very much for coming. I'll pass you on.
Yeah, thank you for coming. I'm super happy to see you, so new faces this week, so it's awesome. So my name is Sandrine. I have a multidimensional channel and trance channel, as well as spiritual teacher. I teach about quantum mechanics of the universe and all of these things. And as a multidimensional channel today, I'm offering this to you, so you can ask any questions that you might have. And so I just tap into my oversoul network. So this is like the bigger me in a way, and I have access to all your systems. So it's like physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, as well as your energetic field, your oversoul network, your council, my council, our family, depending on where the information needs to come from and what information you need to receive. So when we start receiving information at our channel this way, it acts on a multidimensional level, so it's going to often bypass the mind because the frequency shared are going to penetrate directly the heart portal. And often the question and the answer, we can keep on thinking about it for quite a few days and sometimes weeks, and we start revisiting and discovering more layers to it. Because sometimes we ask a question, and when we start receiving an answer, it doesn't totally make sense, or like the full picture is not right there. But when we start, going on with our lives, then all of a sudden things are starting to land more, and we have like this aha moment, intuition, downloads that are starting to unfold. So I work like that with all my students. I run many online programs. I'm starting 2 new online programs, which is very exciting, at the end of April. And one program is to completely upgrade our avatar, so in all our systems. So we work with past lives, inner child, ascended masters. There's a lot of channel transmission from different ascended masters. And it's to teach more about healing and alchemy, and it's all from a unique body of work that I channel, so it's not taught anywhere else than just through my own channel, which is awesome. And the other program is all about star races, earth elemental and ancient civilizations. So we discover the connections that we have with each and every one of them through remembrance, because everything, all the information that we have is always coded within our cells, within our DNA, within our atoms. So within our atoms, we have the nuclei and the electron that oscillates around it, and we have all of this quantum space in between. So all the information that concerns us, our unique journey on planet Earth, but also in other systems, is always present within the physical body. So spiritual ascension goes with the spiritual body shifting. So this is why I work with the Arcturians, which is a very advanced star race, one of the most advanced star races out there. And they're master healers, so they're here and they help with giving cosmic surgery and a lot of different procedures to upgrade our system into new human templates. So a lot of us are being upgraded through, the Schumann resonance shifting, also the photon lights and everything that's happening at the moment within the quantum dynamics. And on top of that, many of us are called to change our diets, to change the way we eat, we drink, the way we live, the way we sleep, the way we meditate, and so on, because we actually need to upgrade our body if we want to change life and to be able to activate a higher timeline. So I'm sharing about all of this, always to empower you and empower all my students and the people following me, because one of the things I do is like I plug you into your own sovereignty. I'm not here to tell you what it is that you need to do and what to believe in and not to believe in. I encourage you to believe in yourself and to find the truth and the answer within you, because it's not because I say something or another channel says something that it is the truth and be an angle of perception. So I would love to invite you to always reside in your own sovereignty every time you receive messages, because there are lots of channels out there. And many of them the channel kind of challenging things like, the doom of humanity, and we're going to be turned into robots, and the dark ages is upon us, and actually it's completely erroneous. And we create this mass thinking that people who get the vax, they get cut from their souls, and they're going to turn into like whatever, and then we're going to lose them because we're going to transition and not see our families around them. None of that is true, of course. So I'm always here to bring you into consciousness, and this is how I work. And it's like a pleasure. I have to be here for you and for people joining online. And so Erin and I will be continuing to do this for maybe another 2 weeks. Yes?
I think so.
Yes. Yes, depending on how it goes. So if you're watching here and you know that you want to keep coming and you have more questions, that's always a possibility. Yes. So does anyone here or online have a question? You can ask any question. It can be super 3D, like it can be super out there. There is no limitation to questions that you can ask. And someone needs to start. Yes.
I don't have any questions. How do you do it? Use yourself to channel it?
How do I channel that? Okay. So our question is, how do I channel? So personally, I can share personally because it's also something, for example, that I teach my students, and it's always interesting to see that the type of channeling that we do really depends on your soul blueprints and your own gift. So, for example, artists, they will channel through their arts. Musicians channel through their music. I channel through words and through entering my trance state to deep trance state when I go into trance channeling. So for me, it's a bit like a radio station. So it means that I'm on a certain frequency. I can start accessing consciously different frequency depending on the information that I need to get. But it's not like I know exactly, okay, now turning into this frequency, that frequency. It happens naturally. I just feel the shift in my body energetically. So for example, when I was little, I was born psychic. I was born, with all of these, whatever we call it, gift or CDs and things like that. It was terrifying because I was not empowered around that and didn't know how to deal with that. So therefore, I was just receiving and witnessing and being the presence a lot of demons and entities and things like that, and they were doing really unpleasant things to me and my family. And then I decided, and I consciously, prayed and closed myself up over a couple of years, so it went away. Every now and then I would have, very intense experiences that reminded me, like, oh yeah, this is something that would need to be addressed. And so therefore, when I decided to, let's go down that path and start opening up, I started to choose to do it consciously. Because as I was working as a massage therapist, it started coming. I had all of these flashes about these people from their past lives, or other star systems, and so on. I didn't know what to make out of it, so I thought, no, it's a time to master it, because it's non-stop, it's coming continuously and draining my energy. So I started training like this, and so it became like in command. So I sit in front of a person, for example, like today in training session, I sit in behind the screen, but it works as well. And the person needs to agree for this, because otherwise it's kind of an invasion of their private space. So for example, I can have access to all information of all people, but when I say that people are worried to hang out with me, because like, oh no, she knows everything, and so, but not at all. I just end up having the same perception that other people have, I guess. Maybe it's a bit more acute and accurate, but hi Maggie. But otherwise, it's not coming from the sovereign choice of a soul coming, and therefore it means that there is already this opening of the heart, ready to receive, answers, ready to receive information. And then I tune into the energy of the person, and I ask to be connected to all the soul network, all alternate life that's where you exist, because we all exist in many different alternate realities on Earth and in other star system, and then I ask to see, feel, hear everything that I need to receive. And
so, what if someone's skeptical, and does it make it harder to kind of channel?
They don't come to me.
They don't come to you?
No, skeptical people don't come to me.
Yeah, but I don't know, someone can wanting to know, but not quite sure.
Yes.
Does it make it harder for you to
No, because I don't really care about the belief system. Yes, like I don't really kind of change the way I deliver because someone doesn't believe. So here, if I would have half the room as skeptic, I would still act exactly the same way. It's not for me to change their mind. I'm not here to convince people that something exists or doesn't. It's just like everybody can believe whatever they want. So if somebody is a skeptic, usually because of my energy, they will just come and they just basically bounce away. Literally, I have all of these layers of protections around me in my home and the work that I do. And because of the authority I'm developing on the subject, it kind of assaults as well this divine will of channeling something of very high potency. So if some people, so also because the way I channel is kind of very pure, clear and direct, I don't cushion things. So it means that it penetrates people. So very often I would see somebody being annoyed and I feel it, and I do feel it. People like the person is annoyed, the person is triggered, the person is like thinking, I know what they're thinking because I'm in their field, because they are there. So I know exactly, but I continue delivering the message, feeding everything that they are projecting at me, but I do not receive any of their projections in my own consciousness, because I've learned through many years, of working like this, that this is just their own projections, and what I'm sharing is because they are here to receive it. And they're informed, they're going to have their own reaction. They might think I'm crazy, like I had, yes, like it hasn't happened in years now, but I had people telling me that I was ripping people off with my work. It's like, I looked at them and it's like, what? If you think like this, then don't give me your money. So yes, like, yeah, it doesn't really happen. It's an interesting question, because actually, like, most people that are around me are on the same wavelength, and the ones that are not, they don't ask questions at all around this. Yes, like my ex-husband, my cousin, like that. Just we talk about human food things. So thank you for the question. Does anyone else have another question?
I have a question.
Yes.
Whenever I focus on you, I keep on having to look with like the light thing, but I keep on seeing like a red glow and then a blue glow and then a red glow.
Oh,
Like,
awesome.
yeah.
What a good vision.
Is that just?
Yes, like my feet is adjusting because I need a lot of energy, a red energy, so I needed to activate a lot of fire. So I'm not surprised that you see red, because I've been, yes, life has been really intense, beautiful, but like really full on over the last week actually. And also, I did transition yesterday, the day before, and then I channeled a lot, so it's like, I'm floating high in the ether, so I've been calling in divine fire and energy over the ground. Yes, yes.
I keep on having to be like, is there a spotlight? Yeah. Wow, it's pretty cool. Yeah. It's like, where's the red light? Oh, okay.
I love red as well. I love that color.
Yeah, very
Sorry, I'm
cool.
late.
And so that's also what you practice with your clients to do, is to create that aura of energy, to amplify it.
Yeah, so I don't work specifically into creating certain aura. It comes from the work that we do. Or I teach about architecture of life, mostly, like through also network and as we project here, why are we here, what's the purpose of life, like the destiny. And then I help people reset their system so they can find unity consciousness in this timeline and navigate, this oscillation, understand what mastery is. Yes, yes. Because there's a lot of distortion around mastery, and it's interesting because, for example, I had a question. A friend asked me, do you believe in twin flame? And what is your take on it? And as I received that question, I was like, it's really not my specialty at all. But at the same time, there is so much to share about this, because I know the architecture of soul embodiment and incarnation and why people come together. So I told her, like, I'm going to do a video on this. I'm going to record probably this, like on Friday, a video on the architecture of twin flame, because again, information that we receive is very, very erroneous, and it is creating even more templates of separation. So for me, it's more like the behind the scene of the behind the scene of like finding more of this, so people can feel free and not entangled in this freaking toxic relationship, thinking, it's because we're twin flame. For goodness sake, toxic relationship have to be.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, like 90% of the time when I have people working with me that are in misaligned relationship, it's off. And they come back, I want to know how I can heal my relationship. There's nothing to heal. The only thing that you need to heal is your relationship with yourself, and realize that you don't freaking need this person. You need to walk away, reclaim your power, reclaim your sovereignty, and allow the other person to also have that. Instead of finding, entanglement. So it's more like this kind of teachings that I share. To empower people. And therefore.
Yeah. I have a follow-up question.
Yes.
Really last one. So I'm from South Africa, and there's quite an easy access to plant medicine, specific psilocybin. And I know I was with a shaman once who channels. I'm not too sure if it's the same. What would you say? Centurions?
The Arcturians?
Arcturians. I'm not too sure if it's the same,
Yes.
but what is your view on using plant medicine to channel versus naturally being able to tap into that energy?
I love this question. It's so much in fashion at the moment. So plant medicine, I haven't done it, so I will just share from my understanding and also knowing that pretty much all of my friends have done it. They have stopped pushing me, to do it. But it's fantastic. All of these substances that are non-addictive have the potential to become addictive, to be able to reach transcendent states. So it's important to realize that it's just like a lock opening a door, but that once the door is open, it serves for us to keep it open and to continue having this relationship with whatever arises behind this door. So it definitely unlocks a deep potential because of it changes neurostructure in an advanced way. Like Dr. Joe Dispenza talks extensively about it. So it's fantastic, it's phenomenal in itself, but the importance is what the follow-up after, what people do with it, because I have had friends who did plant medicine and they were fucked up for years afterwards because they had no way to manage it, to handle it. They ended up their relationship in very tragic ways. They went into very nearly psychosis on a daily basis, on thinking they would see aliens, landing with their ship everywhere, and it's like, whoa, or thinking that they knew the truth compared to other people. So it's very interesting to witness the ones that have been able to use plant medicine as a catalyst of spiritual evolution, and therefore they never use it again. Because they don't need it. It's the same for me. It's like, why would I use it when I have the access and the alignment that I have? A lot of people, they look outside of themselves to find something better that's going to fix them. But it can be for a moment, if you find someone if you feel really bad and you find someone amazing that's going to love you, this person might help you to see yourself differently. And then before you start blossoming. But then it's important not to rely on that. The same with plant medicine, it's going to allow you to see things differently, but not to rely on it. Because all of that potential we have within ourselves just by breathing. If we do really powerful active breath, like pranayama or shakti breath, we go into this same state, we activate pineal gland, all the crystals that are there, the calcites, and it's just we enter transcendental states. And it's therefore, also homeostasis is found within the body, which doesn't happen when we take a substance. It just activates one part of our being. So we are fragmented when we are in these things like DMT traits and things like that. So the consciousness leaves the body. What happens to a body that's left alone? Squatters. Yes. So it's the same with astral travel. Don't do it. I've never had any students or anyone coming to me that had positive effect from astral travel. It's always been very damaging. Because what happens to physical body is it gets it's full of entities, and it's just the case. So people have taken medicine or they're just completely, yes, everything is fragmented. Yes. So again, it's in fashion, it's great. There is a revival in ancient medicine. I'm not against it, but at least I think for me, that's more of a personal opinion. At least we can do it the proper way and honor the tribes by traveling there, giving money there, being with them, and have the full experience over weeks of preparation, weeks on time. Not, going here for half a day and taking it, so many of my dear friends do.
I think the answer to it too is there's no quick fix.
No.
I've got friends who've done the ayahuasca,
Yes.
but they've done it about 7 or 8 times. So they keep going back and doing it again and again. And I thought, well, that's not weird. But I mean, maybe that's just getting in touch with the ancestors and
Yes.
that's
Yes, like I have friends that do that, and when I was chatting with them and other people who have been into Costa Rica or Peru and so on, they said it's because the medicine doesn't have the power here that it's supposed to have, so it gives you like this little dose, and then you have to come back, and you have to go really deep. When you go over there, you are with the art, you are with the shaman, and so the trip is like like very intense. I don't think I want to do it, or if I do it, I would go there maybe, but it's more personal thing. But I love this question, so again, it's each their own. Yes. You're welcome. Thank you. Does anyone else have a question? Yes.
I've recently had a bereavement. I was my granddad's caregiver for about 4 or 5 years, and we were very close, and my life revolved around him. Now that he's not here, I feel like I've lost my anchor.
Yes.
So I really don't know what life has in store for me, and where to put my energy, where to put my love. Yeah, it's just wanting some guidance around that.
Oh, I feel you. Like I've got lots of love and compassion for you. Like I lost my person 2 years ago. And grief is just a journey of a lifetime, really. Thank you for this vulnerable question. And it's I can really feel that at the moment it's a ship lost at sea. There is no more direction, and the lighthouse is not there any longer. So it is really finding a way. So they say, like, for you, it's really fast understanding that a rough sea at the moment is making you very skillful. It's like even the anchor is not there, the lighthouse is not there, but somehow you're not drowning, you're still standing, you're still walking every day, you're still waking up. So it means that the sense of direction is still there, even though you not see it. It's like your boat is still going. You haven't given up, and you're not going to give up because you were not born to give up, So it's just about like literally when a person is there without a boat in a rough sea, and just to start with, it might be fighting with the waves, not wanting to be there in this very strong current. But then as soon as the person kind of opens up its arms and go like more like in a starfish position and say, okay, I'm just gonna look up at the star and I'm just relaxed here, then all of a sudden the person can start just being taken by the waves. And it allows these waves, and that's the waves of grief. It's like, how can you surrender in the waves of grief, allowing you to go to the depth of it? It's like really allowing you to go to how much it hurts to have lost your person, how sad you feel, and be there for you every single day. And they say here in this case, we'd love to encourage you to find this. Actually, it's not encouraging fragments of the soul, it's finding more unity consciousness into having conversation with you every day. And simply saying, okay, what it is that you need today to feel good. And maybe Emma will say, oh, today I just need to stay in bed and just feel sorry for myself because I'm not good. I'm really like, how can I be good? Life sucks. Life is horrible. And then you can be the person that says, it's okay, then that's what we're going to do. So maybe a hot chocolate or a tea or like some nice food. With that comfort in this moment, you say, yeah, okay, I might take that. And then that's what you're going to give Emma. And then the day after, maybe Emma will say, actually, I want to go by the sea. And every single day, that's your anchor. Every single day is a conversation that you're going to have with yourself as you wake up and as you go, around lunchtime. And it's creating a ritual for yourself. They say a ritual that is going to become like it's like a floater, in the rough sea. It's having this conversation with yourself, and it's literally you can sit at a table and you light up a candle. You have, no, it's my conversation with myself, and you really go deep. And at times, if the challenge is there, then you can speak out loud to yourself. Like I speak out loud to myself all the time. It's okay. It's actually having this profound healing journey of reconnection with the self, and also loving yourself unconditionally, going through what you're going. because this grief is gonna have like big swells. Like one day you're gonna feel very good, and maybe it's gonna start feeling very good for a couple of days and weeks, and all of a sudden you're gonna feel like the clouds are parting, you're starting to see the sun, you're feeling a sense of direction, and yet for some reason, a couple of days later, it's like bam, in the dark sea again, in these rough emotions. And it's the more you can accept that and be gentle with that, the more the sea will become like a calm lake, and all of a sudden you will see the lighthouse, but that lighthouse, when you see it, it's just going to be a representation of the light that you are finding within yourself through this conversation. So like really finding unity consciousness is not that much complicated. As a matter of fact, it can be simply for having this daily conversation with the self. Is having this so much love and compassion that we allow ourselves to go into the depths of the well, but then we can also comfort ourselves there, and at times we can say, like the mother would say to a child that has been crying for hours, okay, so now you're gonna rest and so on, but after I'm gonna take you and you're gonna come for me, and I don't want to argue any longer, I'm gonna go to the sea. And the child is like, oh, but the mother knows that actually the child really needs to have a gentle push there, and it can be like, okay, Emma, no, I know like you've been there, and I know that you want to go out and see anyone any longer, but I know that you need to, so I'm gonna push you there. And I push you using my fiery love. It's like really the mother love, like you would have with your grandfather. They say like at times like, come on, you know you can do this. Yes, you can do it. Try again. You know, be courageous, and you would be that gentle presence of encouraging him to, you know, to find more strength and to really focus and to really continue on the journey to the best of his abilities. How can you find that with yourself now? And that's the guiding light. Then this is all there is, they say, because the rest of the puzzle will fall organically into place. You know, as you start, you know, taking yourself out on dates, like you take yourself out, you do your hair, you put some nice clothes on, and you're gonna say, oh, I'm gonna take the sunshine now. And as you walk there, you're gonna find yourself smiling at people. And maybe when you sit on the beach, someone with a dog will sit next to you, and you're engaged in conversation. And maybe this conversation will be actually exactly what you needed from this stranger. And this stranger will walk away, and it will be literally an angel. An angel. And so they send many angels your way. Yes, you will find many angels your way. Many are present in the room, in the physical and non-physical. They are always present around you, and it's going to be okay. And you know that. And at times when you think it's not going to be okay, it's also okay to think like that. It's also okay to think that life sucks, because at times life does sucks. And if we're trying to convince ourselves otherwise, it's actually creating separation, where actually a part of ourselves just want to mourn and feel angry and sad and lost, and needs to go to the depth of that. We hold space for ourselves by having this continuous conversation with the self. So we are the anchor, we are the lighthouse, and whatever the oscillation happens for human self, then we know we can handle it. Yes, Emma? Yes. I bless you, Emma. You're very blessed and protected. Thank you so much for your question. Thank you. Does anyone else have another question? You can type question online if you're online. I can see your comments now.
I'm not really sure what sort of questions. I mean, the things I'm trying to work out is what to do next with my life. Like it's kind of doing the same thing for a long time, and so I might need to make changes, but not sure what direction that is.
I understand. Thank you very much. It's a very good question. So the question of what to do next with our lives arises when we're at the threshold of something new and something that's extremely exciting. And the challenge comes that we don't know what it is. And so there's this flirtation with the unknown, and it's like we maybe bring a food there. It's like, oh, there is something, but I don't know what it is, so I'm just going to retrieve back. So yeah, I can give you some keys that you might like to practice in your own time that might help you. So they say that very often the next stage is coming like a continuity or a blossoming of something bigger than what we have done. So often we would think that we need something radically different to feel energized or to find a life purpose or a destiny and so on. And at times, of course, that's clear, like a complete career change can be on the path. But as we tune into your energy here, they say it's more like, you have all of these blossoming, and let's say that you had a few roses, for example, as what you're doing now. It's kind of like the next step, it's going to be thousands of them. So it's going to be this blossoming of what you have already developed, but to enhance it with what excites you. So we can weave threads around our offering between everything. So it's like somebody who's learned, like who's became a personal trainer, who's interested in arts and who also is very good at maybe public speaking and has maybe an interest in gardening, might be thinking like where to place my energy. I don't know what I want to be doing, but there is always a thread in between things, because it means that when we work with our destiny, everything is part of the puzzle of our destiny. So it could be that like through the offerings that we have done, we start having interest in some more specific things or specializing in specific things. Or it could be that we're going to start studying that, but then there is this other thing that's interesting, because we never stop learning. So when we think that our job is going to stay the same for the rest of our life, this is when a part of ourselves die, because where is our creativity, where is our expansion, because there is always movement. We are here to evolve. And so it's really understanding for you, like, what does excite you in life? And it's really to work with that and to practice more that, even if it seemingly doesn't relate to what you're doing. Because if all of a sudden you wanted to take salsa dancing, for example, it has nothing to do, maybe there you'll meet some people that are doing specific things, and they're going to start being so inspiring. You'll be like, I never thought of it that way. I can see how this could work for me as well. How did you learn about this? What did you do? And maybe it's around, nothing to do with salsa dancing, but to start with, the heart desire to do that is placed by your soul, as it's in quantum resonance with the universe, with the macrocosm. So your soul also has done it already. It knows the way. So one of the most relaxing things we can embody is to relax and say, my soul actually knows exactly what's going on, because I've done it already, because there is no time. It's like time doesn't exist outside of this linearity. So it's like really taking time for yourself and observing, where if I was to allow myself to dream unapologetically big, meaning that there's literally no limitation. There is no limitation around money, there is no limitation around social status, there is no limitation around travels, there is no limitations around health, no limitation. What is it that you fancy doing? Where would you spend your time and energy? What would you cultivate, knowing that that might not be the exact thing, but this is going to be one of the threads. And this is like weaving this canvas, building this puzzle of your life, and therefore it's following your destiny. We follow our destiny when we allow all the seeds of our heart desire to blossom equally. It can be very 3D, such as, I want a brand new car, I want this really nice car, and it's like, oh no, I shouldn't want a car like this, it's so flash, it's not spiritual or whatever, because it's one of my heart desires, I still haven't manifested. It often comes in channeling, because it's simply like showing like one of the heart desires that come. And very often that's the case. It's like we discard them because it's not convenient, it's not proper, because we have many belief systems around it. I shouldn't think like this, it's not possible, I'm too old, I'm single, I'm broke, I don't have the time. All of this is just limitation, none of this is really true. It's excuses, right? So if we dissolve these excuses, then it's kind of like, why do I really want it? Because it's fun, because it makes me feel abundant, makes me feel sexy, and because I think I deserve it. I've never had a new car in my life. It's always been like second-hand, great car. It's like all of a sudden I would feel like I can actually manifest something this beautiful. And so it means that you have heart desires in your heart that you have been pushing away for those reasons. For those reasons that they are not, like fitting the mold of life as it is now. And now is the time to address them. It's like, okay. And it doesn't mean that, for example, we sell all our things to buy the car or we start changing country. It means that just by honoring the heart desire, we honor our intuition, so we honor our soul. And we say, okay, so now you're placing this heart desire to start experiencing with this new thing. It can be very small, and sometimes it's just contacting a person that you have been interested in getting to know more, because she would be such a cool friend, or he would be such a cool friend, but you never really got to do it. So it's like small things, and start taking actions on that. And every time there is a heart desire that blossoms, like, oh, thank you so much for being here. I'm really grateful for you. How can I make this work? How can I manifest this? And at times it's easy, and at times it's not easy, and at times it's going to take a long time, and at times on the way of manifesting it, all of a sudden we don't want it any longer. Because we have learned, we have received all the keys that we needed to be able to shift into a place when other heart desires are going to come and take us there. So all heart desires are equally important. We don't need to have a heart desire to be the savior of humanity and change the life of others by being this guiding light amongst the darkness. It's like lots of people want that. Very good, very good. Why not? But just having that our heart desire fulfilled, to have a nice life, like we didn't come on earth to have a shitty life, we came on earth to have a great life, to enjoy all the things, to exactly the way we want it. And it's just like, what is the way that you want it? Unapologetically, that's inconvenient for other people because we don't care, because we are always going to be inconvenient. I know I'm inconvenient for many people. Many people, they cannot stand in my fear because I'm too this or not too of that. I don't care, because otherwise I'm just going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And I was very small. This is why I was unhappy and unhealthy and angry all the time. So I decided to go like, pop! Go over it, and it's always a journey. We learn it basically to become bigger. Bigger meaning to become more aligned, unapologetically aligned. So whatever it is that you fancy doing, go for it. Yes, explore it. They say like allow your thirst for life to take over. Does this make sense for you? Yes. Thank you for your question. Anyone else have a question? Just going to check. I don't know if you can see. Okay. No, I don't think there is a question. Like, do you have a question?
No, I actually don't. But it's nice to be here. Thanks.
Cool.
Nice to see you.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. And did you have a question?
Probably a lot of questions actually, but yes, it's lovely to listen to the question that I asked last week about connecting with my parents, especially with my mum. Well, that kind of continued really. I mean, I loved what you said about the stillness and the meditation, just emptying the mind. And I was doing something. Sunday, and I just heard this beautiful piece of music, and I just, my heart opened, and there were tears, and it was like just believing that she's probably there all the time. Actually, it's just that I'm racing around doing my things, and not really being aware of that presence. And I'm sure my father, he's there too, but I guess Mum has more of a dominant presence in a way in my spiritual life.
I love it.
Yeah, so it's kind of
beautiful.
so it kind of continues that theme really of
Yeah.
of being able to I mean, I've only got one brother, and he's in Christchurch, and I mean, he just doesn't believe in this sort of stuff at all, except I think he's probably more spiritual than anyone. Those people, we you know those people, don't forget that he's like that. And I did phone him when I was going into a movie on, when it was Monday night, and I just thought I'll phone him quickly, and yeah, I just had this great conversation with him too. And I suppose in a way, he's my gateway to, because he's the only one, the only other one in the world who knows my parents like I do. Now, if I find that if I started talking in this way, it just kind of puts them right off. So I have to do it another way, you know. But that's okay, because if I think if you're aware, it's amazing what comes up. Like you're talking to this person about the sign, you know, the signs will be there, you know, things that you love, you know, following your bliss, and yeah, they're there all the time. It's just that we, it's funny, I'm working from home this week because we're doing that kind of team thing, you know, fun team thing, and of course because I'm working from home, I just have so much more time, because we do, you know, they work, it's just the way it's your own time, and I'm just finding that, yeah, there's much, I just much more space.
It's beautiful. I love this. Like it makes me think of it's something that I shared as well. It's on my YouTube and Spotify and an article. It's one of the most popular. It's called quantum filters, and it's literally it teaches that we always put glasses on, tinted different way, and depending on what we put on, we see life differently. So a skeptic chooses to be a skeptic. Not born a skeptic, became a skeptic. It chooses to continue to anchor this filter of identity, then life will be filtered that way. So it means this person's brain is going to simply interact with reality in a way that's going to continuously prove that point. So to be able to evolve is to be able to say, okay, I have filters in front of my eyes. Do you want to keep them, or am I ready to try to have different filters and maybe put a filter of curiosity, a filter of joy, a filter of faith, and so every day we can choose the quantum filters that we're going to use. For example, at the moment, again, for some reason, I wake up and I'm very angry and pissed off with what's going on with the Mendes. And it's just, I wake up like that, and at night I have very intense vivid dream of me fighting demons and all of these things. So it's like, I wake up basically pissed off and exhausted. And so, I walk my dog at 5:30 in the morning, and I'm like, this is the best, because I have chosen that every time I walk my dog at 5:30, this is going to be my reset point when I choose to put certain quantum filters. And literally to start with, I'm like, I have this conversation, I was like, how are you doing, Sandra? I'm being so pissed off, I can't believe it's still happening, humans are so stupid, people are so dumb. And I was like, and I just go, like, you know, and I allow myself in this moment. Are you done now? Yes. But that was so beautiful. And I have this conversation, you know, in silence, because I'm outside walking my dog. And then I have this higher presence saying like, but aren't they cute though? Aren't they nice in all of their imperfections? I was like, yeah, I know. Don't you love them? I know, I love them. That's what's annoying, because I love them and they're annoying me. It's like, but isn't the purpose of evolving? Isn't the purpose of being there with humanity? Otherwise you wouldn't be there. Didn't you have that question years ago that kept on coming? How can I love people more? Because I've been such a judgmental person, right? So now you're receiving all of this because you're learning to open your heart feeling to loving all of them unconditionally. And so every time I walk my dog, I choose in the morning to put this filter of fast conversation like that, so I can purge and I can be there for myself, because I can it's intense. But every time when I come back home, I'm like, I'm super anchored, and then I choose love, and I look at my dog, and it's cute, it's a Pomeranian, black Pomeranian, it's still a puppy, but this cute little butt, you know, shuffling around. I was like, look at this, that's so cute, just got squeezing, and then it was like, I activate joy. So when I go back home and half an hour later, I feel joyful, and I choose to keep the filters at times when things are very intense, quantum filter of curiosity. How can this experience be amazing? Like I felt so drained in energy before coming here. I was like, how can this experience be absolutely amazing? How can you find the unlimited inner resources that you know always flowing through you? How can you find the unlimited life force energy that's always flowing through you, so you can simply be there and do what you love? So instead of trying to fix something, I put a filter of curiosity, which I find is very, very good. Because therefore the skeptic is kind of like, it's okay because it's not, the skeptic doesn't like, for example, to be pushed in a corner and have this mental game. If it puts a filter of curiosity, it's not pushed in a corner, but it can choose to sit in a corner going like, I don't believe in this bullshit, but no one is poking at it. And it chooses curiosity, so it means that there is not this kind of like aggression against the self that is there, that a lot of skeptic people have. They feel that they are being attacked in the belief system, they're being attacked in the power. If somebody is trying to convince them that something exists, if there becomes this argument. But if for example, like first the person doesn't try to convince them, but if the skeptic even has like just a little bit of curiosity, even if they want to admit that to themselves, then it means that there is room for shift in the subconscious pattern. It's literally kind of like different kind of neural processes happening there for somebody to be able to open their mind to something different. Yeah, so I love this. Thank you for sharing, because it really shows that we can choose many different ways of perceiving reality. It gives us this experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting what you're saying about working with the dog too. I mean, I just feel, that we've all got different, we're all seeing things through different eyes. The same, painting, the same dream, we're all seeing things through totally different eyes. And I just love it when, when I can see the beauty, sometimes other people can't. And the temptation is to be really judgmental. Surely you can see that, but I mean, it's just different.
Yes, it's all different. Yes, totally. The way I was shown by my high council when I started channeling this body of work, they were showing it's like if we are to think that that's a tennis ball, right? You have a tennis ball here, and that's truth. Basically, that's God. That's everything that we know. And so from this tennis ball here, you have, let's say, one person that has direct access to source consciousness. So basically this person has this really clear channel. So reaching a level of mastery, connection, this person receives lots of information directly from source. But this person only sees source from this angle. So what this person is going to start sharing its messages, like a master, a guru, for example. And so therefore, all of these people there that don't have that access, they're going to come to this person. Oh, this person has access, so it must mean that this is the truth. It doesn't mean that what this person is sharing is truth or not truth. It means that to this person witnessing God or like truth from its own angle, that is truth. So it's going to start sharing that with this pool of people. And for a while, this pool of people, they will love it. We think it's great. But then after a while, they might stop at that because it is not them being plugged into that. It's always coming from a different angle of perspective. So it is not negative. It is simply at a certain time, this person that received this information must absolutely not create hooks around these people, which is unfortunately what has been created around religion and guru templates. This person says, oh, look at this, all of these people, I can manipulate them because they don't have access. I have access, I have powers, I have CD, I know, I channel, I know the truth. You don't. So it means that you have to believe the way I want, and we create these really distorted templates there. And then what we need to understand is that we each have access directly to that. And that the truth, it's actually our own universal network. It's not even higher than that. It's like our own truth is our own universal network. When Jesus Christ merged with himself, it was his own universal network. It's like he's the Son of God, but it's God's self. It's not even something bigger, because what's bigger is simply a network of information that grows and that can hold more information. So the architecture of life goes through frequency that can hold more and more and more and more information. If we go to our source, we hold all information about ourselves beyond time and space reality. So what is happening at the moment during the awakening process is like all of these pools of people over there. It's like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense any longer. I cannot really see clearly, so they're running like headless chickens. So now is a good time for distorted gurus to come and hook onto them, which is what's happening a lot at the moment. It's like, oh, I'm going to teach you how to live in 5D, follow my guidance, and you know the truth. It's kind of like, well, let's understand that we give each other keys of evolution, because I give you keys, but you also give me keys back. Like, I've got so many people that give me keys continuously. And it's beautiful, we exchange information, but it's always about how can I find my own truth, what is there. And to start with, we receive from other people, but it's important to continuously say, is this information in resonance with me? Because therefore we don't become dependent on a pool of frequency. We can navigate. Like, for example, we had a conversation when you shared, if I can share that, you were saying like you go to many different groups and you enjoy that so much. I really loved it because it really shows like sovereign embodiment of finding a truth here, truth here, truth here, truth here, but also realizing that none of it is the actual truth until you feel it yourself and it moves you, and it's like, oh, this way of presenting things makes me vibrate, makes me excited. So like, I have she's not my mentor any longer. She was my mentor for quite a while, and we completed the process. But for me, the ability to find people that inspire me, that are going to poke me, that are going to show me a different perspective of life is priceless. Because it's literally like ripping veils of illusions. It's like, whoa, I've never seen things differently. So every time you're really called to listening to someone, to receiving from someone, it's like, great, go for it. But observe, is this landing really well with me? It's like it's like a fuck yes from my soul, or is it like, oh, it makes me feel scared, it makes me feel terrified about life, it makes me feel like so separated and fragmented.
Just reject it.
Yes.
That's it.
Not for me, delete. It's interesting because there are some channels out there, and I won't say names, but that have become very, very big. And they're on Gaia channel, for example. And so it kind of gives them a sense of authority, and they have like hundreds and thousands of followers, which is another sense of authority, but none of that is actually important. And for a little while I would listen to them, and it's like always something inside of me is like, it just doesn't sit right. That really doesn't sit right. And to this day, like still some students, they come and they mention like this channel, for example. And it's very interesting for me to be able to share without judging, because she's doing her part. But at the same time, every time that somebody brings a narrative that they have received from her, it's always fear-based. Always fear-based. That's all the things that she shares. So I say, like, how is this making you feel? Like, are you feeling empowered? Are you scared? Are you terrified after? And so it's making them realize, oh, actually that information is probably not of the highest. Because eventually we want to receive information that makes us feel empowered. So love and light, no judgment. We would have a reason for doing what we do. Yes.
In terms of like manifestation,
Yes.
right? You said manifesting like certain things can bring those things into your life. Can you manifest like bad things into your life? And like, can that? Because there's always a discussion like that humans like inherently evil or really good. And can that make a person like? Can that change a person? Can that make it? Can you sense that when someone is not particularly like a good person?
Yes. Yes, I love this question. It's such a powerful question. So, yes, we manifest constantly, only we do it unconsciously from lower frequency. So it means we create diseases, we create drama, we create all sorts of problems, we create scarcity, we create judgment, and we create distortion around us because we are unconscious of what it is that we're doing. So first step is always to reclaim our consciousness. And it's not even a spiritual process, it's just realizing, let's have a really honest conversation with myself right now. Like, for example, I used to be a very good liar. I was so good at manipulating people. Like, men, I've done it all my life, forget exactly what I'm doing, especially for men. Yes, and my mom. Bless you, mom! And it came to a point where I needed to really have a good reality check with me. I was like, I'm gonna actually stop doing this because it's bad, but you need to be able to change it. So that was not even part of spiritual practice. I call it like opening of consciousness. It's like the friction that we have inside of ourselves who behaves badly behind doors and nobody knows is exactly the poking of our soul saying that's your area of growth. And so that's being a good person is having honor. And that's what's lacking tremendously in humanity right now. Honor is what we do behind doors when nobody sees us. So for example, when I became vegan, I started sharing, oh, I am vegan and so on. And then I had this like, fuck, I'm just going to stuff my face with eggs and cheese, nobody will know anyway. And then I had like, what is this? That's not honor. Why do I didn't choose to be vegan because of other people. It's like because of me. So all of this is very important because that's just an example of like being an honorable person. You know, it's like all the things we do. So I believe, like, I deeply believe that most of humanity is definitely not evil. Definitely not. Even if people do bad actions, it's a lack of consciousness and a lack of courage. It's fears. They are entangled within the law matrix system that is very well built to maintain them there. And no matter the amount of poking that's coming inside from this friction, you shouldn't have done this deal with this person because you're ripping them off. You know, it's like, oh, nobody will know. They should have known better. You know, like so many people, they make money behind other people's back because they know certain systems that others don't. That's a profound lack of ethic. And they have this inside of them. We know they do. We all know they do. They do it, they know themselves, but because they ignore it, they continue perpetuating that. And what's creating is that they manifest sadness, they manifest diseases for themselves, they manifest drama in their life because they don't have this conscious awareness of wanting to change and to be honorable. So for me, spiritual awakening comes from doing the inner work. It doesn't come from channeling, connecting with stars. Like none of that actually matters. As you have shared, I have some very close friends of mine that have been girlfriends for years, and they don't call themselves spiritual at all. We never talk about anything spiritual, but they are true angels on earth. Because they have such sense of honor, of generosity. They are so kind, always thinking about other people, always putting themselves into questions to the best of their abilities. It's absolutely beautiful. It's so touching. I love hanging out with them. And that, to me, that's true awakening. It's people, really looking inside of them and saying, what's not aligned right there? How can I align this so I can be happier? And I can be relaxed, and it's literally removing bags that we carry. We remove bags of hatred or guilt or shame, of regrets. We remove them one by one, and then we feel lighter, and we feel good. And then we can start manifesting, being conscious of. Conscious manifestations come following heart desires. Because if we don't follow our heart desire, then it means that we manifest from low frequency of fear and scarcity and regret and shame. We keep perpetuating what's been happening before, what's been conditioning us. So when we have the courage to say, okay, my heart desire is to have, like a family and to have a man. And now, like, I don't talk for myself, but I have a beautiful woman I worked with today, and like, the clock is ticking, biological clock, typical. It's like, the man is still not there, the kids are still not there, so it's so painful to even think about it. It's like, exactly, this is why I need to go there, because otherwise you're manifesting the life you're continuing to have this life that's not, a fit for your heart desire, because you're scared of going there, because you're afraid. You're afraid it's not going to happen, and you're afraid it's going to happen because if it happens, oh my God, it's going to be so intense and beautiful and overwhelming. So we need to learn to honor small heart desire first, because another system can take it. This is why working with people like Erin, for example, is so good, because if we don't do the work on our nervous system, on our adrenal system, on our muscles, on our physical body, then it means that we cannot create the life of our dreams, because as soon as we start dreaming bigger, it's like nervous system goes like, oh, not safe. And so how can we feel safe again? Like the risk I take now with my business and my house, and we've been there, like the rent I pay, it's like, it's massive. But I can handle it. I'm relaxed. Sweet as my soul's got this, the universe got this, bro. I can just go to the beach and relax until 10 a.m. I can start working until 10 a.m. because I don't want to. Because I need to do my meditation practice. I need to, have this conversation with me so I can be good with myself. But I'll be so pissed off when I meditate, I have to do this challenge session with you. Very good question.
I have a question.
Yes, probably the last one. Thank you.
So I understand there's two concepts that I've learned along the way, and they may be wrong, but I think that for me, the idea that if something flows, it's meant to be, and then you have the idea that if it challenges you, it grows you. So me personally, I'm in a position with work where I've taken a risk, and it flows, but it's very challenging. And I think in the times we're living in at the moment, it's like we need to evolve and we need to be challenged. But at what point, when do you listen to that intuition, or is that fear, or is it like, I don't know, I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned, but do you choose the hardest one, or do you ease yourself up to it?
I love this question. I could talk about it for hours.
Yeah.
So here, if we want to work with feminine and masculine frequency, going with the flow, awesome, divine feminine frequency, but you need to activate divine will. So at the moment, I'm really initiated with ascended master, white buffalo woman, and sky grandmother, and because basically I want to command miracle. I don't want to wait and manifest cute enough things. I want to freaking command miracles. And it's like, how do I do it? I've got no idea. So they say, so like the activations I've been receiving, it's like, why as well I'm so spaced out, because it comes from, like the thunder energy. And it's like, when you are in front of a situation or above a situation, and you know that behind these dark clouds resides what you want, what are you going to do? You're going to fluff the cute cloud, you're going to dance with it with little flowers, and wait for them to dissolve when they want? Or are you going to activate the alchemical thunder in you and going to say, I don't care, I'm going to fucking touch my destination? And that's exactly what Buffalo Woman was saying. She's like, that's how you command miracle, and that's how you bring into reality what it is that you need to anchor. If you see the clouds and you're going to do it anyway, and there's nothing that's going to stop you from going for it. So yes, it's hard work at times. I'm not in the template of like we must work hard to have abundance, but at times it's like, I mean, like to build something, it requires, yes, it's uncomfortable, it's painful, it's challenging, there's lots of oscillation, there's lots of like, why did I do it? You know, like, oh, I've been talking a lot with some friends that are doing similar work. Until we become really anchored in our field, it's very hard to magnify, like the abundance of the tribe and the money and the lifestyle and the impact that we have into humanity, like touching the heart of humanity. I'm here to touch the heart of humanity. So for that, it's not by staying behind my computer and fluffing around that's going to happen. No, it's like you need to get out there, you need to move, you need to travel, you need to maybe, go beyond your fears. They even told me like, you might need to get the vax because we wanted to travel many times this year. And I'm like, oh, excuse me? And they say like, it's all of these being discomfort that's going to take you to where you are. So yes, you need to go there. Yes, because that's going to have you're going to shift to go for what you want. And so at times you really feel that the flow is there and everything is aligning, so you witness that. It's fantastic, it's great, it's happening. And then at times it's just not happening. It's like, how can I do this differently? What is it that I'm not seeing? Okay, so like today it's not working. For example, Mercury retrograde, like, okay, so like maybe not build my brand new website on that time, but like right now all planets are direct until April, very good time for manifesting and for really going direct. So now it's good time to penetrate this field like thunderstorm. So learn, like we listen to astrology because it gives you a lot about the dynamics out there. Like I often share that as well on my different channels about different dynamics that we need to be aware of, because then you work with what's out there. And at times you will feel like completely saturated. And so it goes like I give myself a break. But very often, especially because of the nature of your question that you have mentioned, it means that you need to bring a huge dose of divine masculine where, yes. Just like the divine feminine holds all possibilities, like the womb of consciousness, all possibilities reside within the quantum, but it's until the divine masculine will has chosen what to activate and go through it unapologetically, that something is manifested. Otherwise, if the divine feminine will stay within her flow, nothing gets manifested, it stays chaos. So for creation to exist, there was the womb of unity consciousness, and within this womb came the question, who am I? And from this question, masculine will came and penetrated as a force, created second dimension to mirror each other. Okay, let's answer this question. And so it's always divine masculine will penetrating the quantum into deeper layers to be able to bring third dimension, fourth dimension, with the subsequent dimensions. So it's always because there is the will coming from the womb of all possibilities. So yes, we dream and we are with the flow and we look at the stars and we have all the dreams and have desires, and then okay, like which one do I activate today? Yes. Love that question, thank you. I think it's probably good for today, so we can check the vibrations in our physical body with Erin. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. We had a good time as usual. I'll see you next week. Hopefully, see you next week. So unfortunately we cannot leave it on for ecstatic dance because otherwise we cannot post the replay because yeah, there is music. So last week we didn't post it. So I'm just gonna have to stop. Thank you so much for being here. Send you lots of love.